This is Daf Yerushalmi Demai, Daf Chabeis, in the Art Scholars Bard edition. We got up to the second line yesterday, the two dots, Hacheboni, Ein Hashem Mikor Demai, and that in the Vilna edition should be Yudam and Aleph. No, it's Yudam based. Right at the top. Hacheboni. Hacheboni was in Yerushalmi Demai. Small storekeepers, retailers, not allowed to sell Demai. They have to fix it before they sell it. That's the Chevraya, the base Medrash, the Chevra, said the name of Rabbi Lezer. This is going like Rabbi Meir. Only a wholesaler is allowed to sell the mai without having fixed it. He said Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi says, "Mastisa pliga." Doesn't the Mishnah seem to argue? It says, "Elohein hamashpin b'midagasa." People who are defined as mashpin midagasa, selling in large measures, are the ones who are allowed to sell the mai. It says they're going to sitonos umochrei tfua. It says not just wholesalers, but also people who sell grain. Have it yitzcha running. So the must be that there are other people who are allowed to sell demai. The mochrei tfua, which is said in our Mishnah. It said Sitonas Hem Mochim Yaim B'Shem Harbe Yachad is the name Moshe. The Sitonas Hem Mochim Yaim B'Shem Harbe Yachad Lachen Vonim. Sitonas is wine and oil. Mochim Tvua Shen Kohen Tvua Bale Etzos Mochim Lachen Vonim Harbe Yachad. Mochim Tvua is the same thing, but it is with grain. So there seem to be others. So maybe Chen Vonim also is a. So the next Gemara is a bit choppy. I'm going to do the way Reb Chaim learns it. Rabbi Yossi Law, that which said that which Lezer said that it's Rabbi Meir. It's not going on our Mishnah, but rather a different Mishnah. Rabbi Lamar Adam Milsa El Ada. A similar idea. He's saying like Rabbi Yossi. He's Rabbi Yossi says it's not going on our Mishnah, but Rabbi Yossi is saying it's not going on that Mishnah, our Mishnah, but it's going on this. The following brisa, the Tani we learned Bamet Varmar was matching Mocher B'Chanuso a Pesach Chanuso. The when is a Chenvoni? When is a Chenvoni? It's not a Chenvoni. This is very confusing. It's Nachtomim, the bakers. Okay. The bakers are potter from taking off the mai. At least taking off Ma'aser Sheni, we said in the Mishnah. So it's confusing because in the Mishnah it said Nachtomim, and here it says it's just meant it's Chanus. But evidently that's what the same thing. We're talking about here not a store of a retailer, but the store of the baker. Okay. Now evidently the bakers had stores in which they sold their what they baked, but sometimes they sold out of the bakery or kind of like an outlet store next to the bakery. So now it tells us by Medmorim when can Nachtomim be potter from taking on Ma'aser Sheni Al Mai? Bismanchu Bancha Chanusa he sells in his normal store, Pesach Chanusa or in the opening from the store. I think it's the Rosh Hashanah changed it to Pesach Beso, opening of his house. But in any event, those are places where they were known to sell, and there they beat them to make them sell. The officials beat them to make them sell cheaper. So therefore, they're exempt on Ma'aser Sheni. Avim is selling in the bakery, or or his store which is next to the bakery. There, the officials don't go there. It's too much out of the way, whatever the case may be. So therefore, they're not going to go there and beat them. So there, they can sell at a higher price. So there, Ma'aser called. He has to take off even Ma'aser Sheni. Now Nachdom, he can't get away with just take off the Chumas Ma'aser, like it said in Mishnah, Chumas Ma'aser and Challah, but he has to take off also Ma'aser Sheni. Alei, on that, Chevraya b'shem Eliezer said to Meir. Chevraya, the name of Eliezer says to Meir. Now the next four words, I know more than 4 words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 words. The Chaim takes out. He takes out the words Meir, Mer Loi Tilim Kod Ma'il Tzidam Bilbat. Makes sense because we're about to ask Hayden Meir, and that's our Meir from our Mishnah, which we just quoted before. So therefore, those words should not be there. It seems the Gemara takes them out. And now we're asking Hayden Meir when he said this, Rabbi Lezer said that this is Rabbi Meir. Which Rabbi Meir is he talking about? So he didn't think Basra. It's the Rabbi Meir of the next Mishnah. Meir Omer Shadarko Limdo Bagasa Mother Badaka. If somebody normally sells gasa, normally sells wholesale and a large measure. Now he sold in a retail, a small measure. So tefela, and here the Chaim brings down the Rash, who changes the girsa. Tefela gasa ledaka. Even though normally he sells wholesale, when he sells retail, he has to take off, or it has to take off the Messiah fixed to the mind. Oh, so we see even though somebody normally sells wholesale, but he sells retail, we don't say, well, he's normally a wholesaler, let him off the hook. No, now he has to take off the mind. That is in line with that price we just learned. It says that even though when he sells at his normal store, opening of his house, he's got to he's exempt from taking off Meiser Sheniel because they compel him to lower his prices. This nachtom. Nevertheless, when he sells out of the bakery or out of the outlet store, he's got to take off the mai because there he can charge higher prices. So therefore, we see even though normally somebody's put from the mai, under the right circumstances, under different circumstances, he's chayiv in the mai. And we don't go after what he sells most of the time, what manner or where he sells most of the time. It goes situationally, depending what's going on now. Okay, Tiny Rebbe Chia came, and Rebbe Chia also taught us this. Es shedarko limade begasa, that which is normally sold in gasa, mother bedaka, and you sold it to bedaka. Here it also should be tefela gasa ledaka, v'chein palter, and so to palter mida daka, v'chanus mida gasa, tefeli gasa ledaka. So a similar idea, which is again like we just explained, just like we have that case by wholesale and retail in the next Mishnah, which is by Meir. So to here by Palter, it's the same. Palter is like Mida Daka because he can sell at a higher price, and Chanus with the store, it's like Mida Gasa because he can sell at he has to sell at a lower price. So therefore, Tfeli Gasa Daka in the case of selling from the Palter for the higher price, it's like Tfeli Gasa Daka. He has to take off the mai before he sells it. Now, why do you have to take off the mai? So why does it still have to take off the mai? We said not an achtom, a regular chenvani. He has to take off the mai, all the mai. So why does he have to take it off? So it's a machlokas here. Chavrayim Shem Yochanan said mibnei tinokus lo yechlun tevel. The Chavrayim said in Rabbi Yochanan that because children buy in the store, they might come to eat tevel, so therefore you have to take off the mai so they don't eat tevel. Rabbi Lov Shem Yochanan said. Not because of the children, but because of what we talked about all along, because he's making more money. Mida daka since he sells in small quantities and he makes more, has a higher profit margin, so therefore mafrish. He has to set aside. He has to take off the mic. Mida gasa when he's wholesaling, since the buyer is actually getting a better price, he's making the money. Halokech mafrish. So the buyer is the one who takes off the mic. Masisim sayadeh. We have Mishnayos or Brises, because I think they're Mishnayos. Because the Yerushalmi could be either one. Masnisa Messiah Chevraya. What's the Masnisa, which assists which is the evidence for the Chevraya? Looks like this is Tosefta. So that says it's a brisa. So eshu tofel l'daka b'daka. Eshu tofel l'gasa b'gasa. So the we wrote here. Yes. So it's like this. This brisa, remember, this brisa Yerushalmi says, let's say this guy always sells gasa, but he came out in the place where he sells gasa. He happened to sell daka. Okay, so the daka, which he sells, in addition to the gasa, has the same status as gasa, and it is putter. He doesn't have to take off demai. Conversely, as you talk about daka, something if you normally sell daka, and you sell gasa, and in an exception to the rule, so then exception you normally did, so then it still has the status of daka. So here it says we're going after what your normal sale is. Now that means that we're not differentiating like Rabbi Hila said. We're saying no, and Rabbi Chemis seems not to say hold like Rabbi Meir, but clearly we're saying that you don't. It's not situational, and therefore it's wherever if you normally sell gasa and you did daka in that place, you still have to you give gasa. It's tough to gasa. You don't take of the mic, and vice versa by tafel daka. So if we're going to say that the issue is that the children are going to eat, I'm sorry, if we're not going to say the issue is children, you're going to say the issue is that how much he makes. So therefore, how can it ever be tafel? That and if it's situational, how can it ever be tafel? You should have to take off from the gasa. He should be put on the gasa even though normally he does daka. He should put chayiv on the daka even though normally he does gasa. So that it can't be that the reason is because of profit margins. Must be the reason is where the children come to buy, and the children come to buy in the chanus, and therefore if he sells gas in the chanus, has to take off the mai, and the children don't come to buy in the palter. Therefore, in the palter, even if he does daka for a change, he doesn't have to take off the mai. That is the Masisa Messiah to the Chevraya. Masisa Messiah to Rabbi Law. This is also a brisa. Yeah, it's also a brisa. The same brisa, evidently. If he measures in a daka, he's chayav afilu lo madad elasah v'rova. Even if he only sold him a saw, which is a large measure, and a rova, a small measure, right? Tzarich la'aser so rova. On the saw, is still potter, but on the rova, since it's a small measure, he has to take off the mai. So you see, that's the raya to Rabbi Law. That all depends on what his profit margin is, and therefore, whatever the profit margin is and that amount, that's what determines whether he has to take off demai or not. Let's see, we're up to here. We're already on Chav Gimel, even though we could go to the Mishnah, but Rabbi Zira is complicated. So let's leave Rabbi Zira for tomorrow.